I want to talk about Joe Biden. Just because I voted for him doesn't mean I'm not going to call him out. So let's jump right on into it. I've got 3 complaints over the last 35, 38, whatever, how many days he's been in office. It's been about a little over a month. I got some complaints. All right. He just reopened another detention center to keep children in cages. Did we not vote for him to get children out of cages? So the fact that he is continuing a policy, and I want to be very clear, it is not the child separation policy. Children that come in with their parents remain with their parents. What I'm talking about with children in cages are 13 to 17 placed in those detention centers, unaccompanied minors. And people are going to ask me, well, what do you expect him to do with unaccompanied minors that are not, that don't have family, or they can't locate, or they don't want to talk about their family? What do you do with them? I think there are several options. There are host families. There is the option of foster care. There is the option of something like a boarding school where they have dorms, actual dorms that are not cages, shabbily built cages that make it look like kennels because they're not fucking animals. And we put them in a dorm-like boarding school situation. And we also make the access of every complaint, every accusation public. And the people that run them held accountable for every action, meaning if there's an even hint of abuse, those people are fired. Because I understand that we need a place to house these kids. I do. But at the same time, locking them in what is the equivalent to kennels and trying to spruce it up a little bit by saying they have access to doctors and they have access to education, basic human rights. I know Donald Trump violated those basic human rights, but still the bare minimum isn't going to work for me here. So we need to get them out of detention facilities because they're not criminals, they're children, and get them in an appropriate environment. Because again, children are not animals, they do not belong in cages. I don't care if it's Trump, I don't care if it's Biden, I don't care if it is Obama. They do not belong in cages. Biden, do better. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is the bombing of Syria. He did not know if he attacked the appropriate militia group for the soldiers in Iraq. Now, I don't like seeing our soldiers bombed, but I also don't want to see our soldiers there to begin with. We have created so much havoc in the Middle East, and we are still continuing to create that havoc. And we are destabilizing units that didn't necessarily need destabilization. We butted in and we made the situation worse, and we made terrorists as an excuse to stay longer. Do I think we need to stabilize the region before we go? Absolutely, because leaving an unstable region is extremely dangerous for the people, and it's extremely dangerous for the United States. But the second we have a hint of stabilization, we need to bounce, and we need to stop bombing the living heck out of Syria, Afghanistan, and Iraq. This is not okay. We are creating terrorists when we do this. We are creating our own enemy by doing this. We need to find a safe way out of Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria. And we need to do it like yesterday. And no, Trump just pulling troops randomly was not a good idea, before someone comes in my comment section. All right, the last thing I'm going to criticize Biden on here is you lied about the stimulus. You are so busy trying to play bipartisanness that you broke your key campaign promises. First off, you said that you were down for having a higher or a lower qualification at 50,000 and 100,000. That really would have hurt a lot of middle class people that lost their jobs during this pandemic. And then you dropped the $15 minimum wage thing, which would have lifted millions out of poverty and boosted our economy. You lied about how long it was going to take, because it hasn't been your biggest priority. Look at all the other things you're doing, like bombing Syria. So there's that. And you have stalled and taken your time. We are in March, and yet people still don't have that $1,400 that you promised them. Let's not even get into the fact that you promised them $2,000, and a lot of people who don't understand political doublespeak didn't understand that it was going to be the 600 and the 1400. I saw that coming. A lot of people didn't. And you knew that when you used it to win your seat and when you used it to win Georgia. And you cannot expect people to continue to vote for you and continue to vote for Democrats if you can't keep basic human rights promises. Granted, we'll never vote Republican, but we'll figure it out, and we'll keep pushing progressives as long as you continue policies like this, because this is not okay. This is not okay. None of what I just mentioned is even remotely okay. You promised people you would help them. You haven't. You bombed Syria for no good reason. And you're still locking children in cages, which again is one of the biggest reasons I wanted Trump out of office was his constant abuse of immigrants, and we're just glossing it up a little bit. No, it's a human rights violation. It's unacceptable, and don't do it. It's that simple. I will hold you accountable for everything you do that sucks. All right, guys, I'll see you later.